This is the West Michigan Sports Show, presented by Dasos Digital. Now, here's your host, Brandon Wirth.
Welcome into another edition of the West Michigan Sports Show, presented by Dasos Digital. Brandon Wirth joining you here live on News Radio WBR Ren. Thanks for tuning in, whether you're with us on 107.7, 96.5, and 1460 AM, as well as WBRN.com and the WBR mobile app. If you ever miss this program, don't worry about it. Head on over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube on the Big Rapids Daily News YouTube channel. You can catch the entire episode there. And we had a great episode last week. We got a great episode in store for you here today. We'll get into some of the local score reports as we'll come back to the last 2 weeks and get you everything that happened here. Last week, we took a little bit of a different turn with the episode as we had a lot of stuff going on, and I had to record the episode a little bit ahead of time. So I took the time, gave you the top 5 reasons why high school sports are important. You can check that out wherever you find this show post-production, WBRN.com, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and more. As well as this week, we will get to that. We got some state finals and some state championships to talk about. Cross country is actually still going as we speak, as you're hearing this live over the radio waves on this Saturday afternoon. And so we'll get to as many of the results as we can from the morning sessions, and we'll break down the afternoon sessions upcoming here as much as we can here throughout the morning. But big thanks go out to our sponsors and advertisers here on the West Michigan Sports Show. Without their help, this show would not be possible. Those include, but are not limited to, Dasos Digital, obviously, as the primary sponsor. If you need help with digital advertising, media solutions, and more, go to DasosDigital.com to find out more, as well as our other local sports supporters, which include Johnson's Automotive, the Schuberg Insurance Agency, Quality Car and Truck Repair, Ultra Care Big Rapids, Parasaddle Sales and Service of Big Rapids, Moto the Macasta Osceola Transit Authority, and the Macasta Osceola Career Center. Thank you for your support of the West Michigan Sports Show. So here we go. It is time for our score report here on the West Michigan Sports Show. We will take you all the way back as far as she goes to October 19th, as we missed it on last week's show, so we'll bring you back as much of the score report as we can. We had our CSA League Tournament in volleyball action. Here goes the scores as follows. Big Rapids beats Chip Hills in 2 sets, 25-18 and 25-21. But Big Rapids would fall to Kent City in the next round, 25-9 and 25-16 there in the CSAA tournament. Kent City also beat Grant following 25-19 and 25-16 to win the CSAA tournament championship. Congratulations to the Eagles, as well as we had some other teams as well competing in the league tournament. Reed City falls to Newaygo in 3 sets, 21-25, 25-20, and then 7-15 in favor of the Lions. So Newaygo moves on, but they would fall to the Kent City Eagles 25-15 and 25-21. Lakeview also took part in the MCVCA tournament down south. They took on some pretty good ball clubs as far as volleyball teams, 25-22 and 25-17. There was in that matchup with Macomb, Dakota. And then they also played Anchor Bay out of New Baltimore. They would fall in that match 25-11 and 25-15. Looking into football from this past week, the final regular season score report. This is all the way back in week 9. We'll get to the postseason Friday night here in just a moment as far as November 1st scores go. But here's the October 25 scores. Big Rapids beats Alma 49-14. Final score in that one. Reed City holds off Beale City at their place, 18-14 with a fourth quarter comeback. Reed City wins. Newaygo holds off Fremont at Fremont, 21-14. The Lions over the Packers. Hornets beat the Hart Pirates 38-16. Your final score there, as well as White Cloud gets another tally on the season in the win column. They defeat the Holton Red Devils by a score of 28-6. Ludington against Tri-County, it'll be the Orioles taking down the Vikings 51-31, the final score there, as well as Kent City holds off Grant 34-14, the final score in that one. Chip Hills and Lakeview, it came down to one possession at the end of the game, and it was a win for the Lakeview Wildcats, 34-27 over the Warriors of Chippewa Hills. And then Pine River against Morley Stanwood, 27-16, your final score in favor of the Bucks. Now we'll get into some more volleyball action back to October 21st. White Cloud against Hart. This one was in 3 sets in favor of the Indians. They take down the Pirates 25-13, 25-21, and 25-10. Moving ahead a day to October 22nd, Cedar Springs against Moly Stanwood in the Community Against Cancer game. What a very special moment and a very special event. And I wanted to highlight that too here. It is great to see these athletic events being a host for a cause in support. We have so many people coming out to these events, and it's only more fitting that we get more of these great initiatives and great help involved. And I think that's just a great part of it. And I think that we talked about that quite a bit on our recent episode on how it can be a huge support in the local community and a lot of the fans. And I think this was a great game of it. It would be the Mohawks, unfortunately, losing to the Red Hawks, 25-21 and 25-23. Cedar Springs wins it. Moly Stanwood also played against Fremont, where they would fall to the Packers 2-1. Tri-County against Lakeview, it's all Wildcats. They win it in straight sets. 25-19, 29-27, and 25-17. Kent City falls to Shelby in volleyball action in straight sets. Big win for the Tigers in non-conference, 25-20 and 25-19. White Cloud against Central Montcalm. This one in 3 sets in favor to White Cloud, 25-21, 25-14, and 27-24. Whitehall would also take on Kent City, and the Vikings would take down the Eagles. They would drop the opening set 25-14, but battle back for 25-22 and 15-11 victories there against Kent City. Moving ahead to October 24th. Had quite a bit of action as well in volleyball, non-conference action for Kent City as they took down Grand Rapids North Point Christian. They actually fell to North Point Christian in 2 sets, unfortunately, 25-18, 26-24, and 15-13. The scores there. Reed City would fall to McBain in straight sets, 25-21, 25-15, as well as we had another matchup between Reed City and Pine River. A little bit of the rivalry there. It would be the Bucks taking down Reed City 25-18, 26-24, and then 16-14 in favor of the Pine River Bucks. Big win there for all of our fans there in Leroy. Also had some more volleyball action on October 26th. The Central Montcalm Invitational had quite a few local teams there. Get you some scores from there. Tri-County falls to Alma in straight sets, 25-12, 25-19. Grant would take on Alma, and they would lose. It'd be a win there for the Panthers over the Tigers, 25-8, 25-13. Ithaca took on Central Montcalm. It would go in favor of the Yellow Jackets after dropping the opening set. They win the next 2 to win 2-1. Ithaca also took on Chippewa Hills, and they would outlast the Warriors in what was a very unbalanced affair. They're in 3 sets. Pine River against Tri-County. This one was all Bucks, 25-19, 25-17. And Pine River would also take care of Chippewa Hills, 25-13 and 25-20. Newaygo against Pine River. This one needed extra points in both sets, and they both would go by a 2-point margin to the Pine River Bucks, 26-24. And you guessed it, 26-24. Newaygo against Alma. Win for the Lions over the Panthers, 25-17 and 25-20. Newaygo would also take on the Vikings of Tri-County there, and that would be another win for Newaygo, 25-21, 25-16. Reed City against Lakeview, straight set winner for the Coyotes. They win 3-0, as well as they would take on Grant, and this one would be 3 sets, but unfortunately the Tigers on top of Coyotes. If you're a Reed City fan, seeing that loss, they're 25-21, 20-25, and 19-25. They're your final. Reed City against Central Montcalm as well. This one would fall in favor of the Hornets as they win 2-1. They're in action. Also, some final volleyball scores here for you on October 28th. We got some great matchups as well. This one was a entertaining 5-set frame. I mean, we're talking highly entertaining. You like extra points? You got them. You got a penultimate set there in Farwell, and this would fall in favor of the Eagles against the Warriors, 26-24, 25-23, 25-11, 25-20, and 15-8 in favor of the Eagles. Big win for Farwell, as well as Grant on the road at Fruitport for a quad tournament matchup. And it would be in favor of Fruitport, 25-15, 25-13. And the tri-match at Shelby, Onekama takes down White Cloud, 25-21, 25-23. And last but certainly not least, here for October 30th, we got our final volleyball scores for you. Carson City Crystal takes down the Warriors, 3-0, as well as Cedar Springs took on Kent City, and they win at home. in 3 sets, 2-1. Falls to Cedar Springs. I'm reading these scores backwards, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best here. 25-21 and 25-19. And then you got Grant at Kansas City, and this would be a win for the Eagles, 25-20 and 25-21. Reed City Quad, they're in Reed City, up US 131. Reed City wins against County Central out of Mason, 25-13, 25-16. They'd also win over Benzie, 25-18, 25-16. And a win against Kingsley would have been nice, but unfortunately, Reed City falls in a revenge match from the opening football matchup, 25-15 and 25-18 are final scores there reported. And the last one reported, Kent City against Sparta. This one needed 3 sets, but the Eagles win over the Spartans, 25-22, 27-29, and then 15-12. Your final score there for Kent City. Let's get into football, shall we? We got the scores from November 1st here for you. We'll get to some here before the break, and we'll continue on after our commercial break. First off, Big Rapids, Battle of the Birds against Ludington. They're in Division 4. Was not pretty for Big Rapids, but they were able to squeak it out in the Battle of the Birds. The first game at Cardinal Stadium goes as a W for Coach Seltzer. 28-21 over the Orioles. Not the cleanest game, not their best game, but they're able to squeak it out, survive, and advance. They will be awaiting a well-anticipated rematch of last year's district title game against Whitehall at Cardinal Stadium next Friday night. We're going to have coverage for you. We'll break down the matchup and more on the rundown this week. You can subscribe on Big Rapids Daily News for more information so you don't miss out on those matchups. It's going to be really fun to watch those two teams play because we saw what Whitehall did to Big Rapids on the basketball court. That was personal. You thought that was personal. This is going to be even more personal. Be ready for that game on Friday night. We'll get to the rest of the scores and break down cross-country results coming up after this right here on WBRN.
The West Michigan Sports Show is brought to you by Dazos Digital. Dazos Digital specializes in a number of crucial business elements in today's advanced world of technology. Dazos Digital specializes in web design, digital content creation, including graphic design for logos, advertising, and digital videos. Dazos Digital also works with programmatic digital display advertising and YouTube digital video advertising. They also work with premium and performance audio streaming, both via the Big Rapids Media radio station streams as well as Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, and more. Find out more information at DazosDigital.com.
Big time Friday night lights last night on November 1st. We'll get you to the opening district semifinal rounds, as we'll get you to the scores as well, as we'll finish out with cross-country morning session state championship finals. We'll get to the afternoon ones here as we're recording a little bit early on next week's show, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Tri-County season comes to an end. Their injury-riddled season, unfortunately, hits them right in the mouth in the district semifinal round as they take on one of the favorites in Division 5 in Frankenmuth. They fall 62-6, the final score there in Christmas land. And so, unfortunate loss for Coach Butler. He dealt with a lot of injuries this year, a lot of bad hands in a card game, but he was able to make a good season out of it. And so really congratulations to Tri-County on a good season. I know it ended earlier than they would have hoped, but able to battle through the elements. And we hope to see them bounce back here in the winter and spring seasons. Reed City against Manistee. It's a win at the House of Pain for Coach Schenkel, his 10th on home turf in his career, as they're able to win against Manistee 41-20. Really a fun game. Reed City able to get on top. After an opening Manistee score, it was looking like it might be a little bit interesting, but Reed City just put it on the gas pedal. 35 unanswered points going into halftime. They're able to hold them out from there. Big win. They're going to be hosting once again this week against Standish Sterling, the Panthers, a team that often gives a lot of Coyote teams fits, no matter if it's on the baseball diamond, no matter if it's on the basketball court, no matter what sport, they always come to play. So that's going to be a well-anticipated matchup there. We'll break more of that down on the rundown as well for next Friday at Reed City, hosting Standish Sterling in that District 6 final. Newaygo against Montague. This one was closer than people might have thought, and I was wondering. Montague came into this game playing some of their best football. Newaygo on the opposite end, but Coach Munger's team scraps it out. They win 30-17 over Montague. Big win for Newaygo as they will host yet again a familiar team that I will announce to you here after you hear the next scoreline. But big win, especially there for Newaygo as they're able to come out on top. Great to see Newaygo back in prominence. I think it's great that the conference, we're talking about here right now, we're talking about 4 teams in the CSAA Red, what was formerly the Gold, in these playoffs. I think that's so impressive. Isn't it so impressive that we're talking about 6 CSAA teams, 4 in the Red, making the postseason, one of the highest in quite some time. So it's super impressive. Very, very impressive. And we're glad to see the conference back in prominence once again in the spotlight. No matter how many teams advance, just seeing them in the district lineups is super cool. And they will be playing Central Montcalm as they take down the Eagles for a season sweep by a final score of 36-12 there from Stanton. So we're going to get a week 2 rematch, folks, and how about it? It's going to be a fun football game, to say the least. 21-12 was the score in week 2 there at Stanton. Now Newaygo will host a hungry Hornet team looking for a rematch there in the district final. So those are your local teams still in action, and we can't wait to bring you the coverage as well. Once again, 3rd time's the charm on the mention. Watch the rundown on YouTube for more information on in-depth football moving forward. So with that, we'll finish out the show with our state final cross-country athletes as they are finishing up the morning sessions here. As I'm recording this, you'll hear the afternoon sessions coming to a close if you're listening to this live. And so we'll break down the Division 4 and Division 3 overall finals. We'll start with Division 4. We saw some local teams in action, including the White Cloud Indians making another trip there in the Division 4 finals. Really impressive what that program has put together. Coach Atwood and company have done a great job, and you're seeing especially a lot of the great results. So team scores, some local teams finishing out. We'll start on the men's side. White Cloud finishes 9th in a packed field with 309 points. Saw a couple other teams as well. Sacred Heart in 13th, as well as Beale City down there in 27th. So good to see some of those local programs doing very, very well for themselves, and White Cloud especially doing a really nice job finishing in the top 10. Once again, very impressive stuff there. Some times there from the scores there from White Cloud go as follows. Colson Cruzan, he's an all-stater, folks, as you see the senior coming across at 16:21. Caleb Canning, 17:04 there as the senior finishes in 45th. Avery Bowman at 18:15 at 124th place overall in his final race of his high school career. Joseph Kuhn, the freshman at 18:19 there for the Indians. Wyatt Carnes rounds out your top 5 at 18:43, followed by Caleb Lays and Angelo Hinson, a pair of sophomores in 176 and 180th as sophomores. So that gets you through with your men's results, as we'll flip over to the women's. Big shout out to my friends over at Whitmore Lake, as they are your Division 4 girls state champions there. Congratulations to that coaching staff and company, as we saw some great results there. Beale City also finishing in 23rd. Not as many overall individual performances there from those teams. I do want to highlight Mason County Eastern with Lucy Shoup, the senior finishing 56 with a 20:48 final time. So congratulations there to her, as well as all the other great competitors over there in Division 4 in the finals earlier on this morning. Now we'll flip the script here for the final moments over to Division 3, including Central Montcalm and Reed City, 2 teams duking it out for the tops of the team standings and tables. We saw in conference action, not necessarily in the separated divisions, but as a whole. Great results overall. We'll start with the men's, and overall team performances go as follows. Saw really good stuff overall from Central Montcalm, finishing in 7th overall there amongst the CSAA teams. Reed City finishes 17th as a team with a rebuilding crew, as well as Clare finishes in 26th. Some of those highlighted teams overall. We'll get to some individual performances as well for a lot of these local teams, and it seemed like it was a very, very good overall morning for racing. Saw a lot of great things as far as seeing a lot of great weather, not necessarily wet. I had those concerns, obviously, going into the races. We had a lot of that rain come in over the last couple of days, but still, a lot of great performances, to say the least, here from these individuals. We'll highlight those here for you now, as we got all of our individual results coming in here. Gus Rohde finishing 2nd overall, a state runner-up, folks, at 15:32. This kid earned it. He has been an incredible workhorse this year. Congratulations to him, as well as Gage Hoffman, another all-stater, one place behind Gus, finishing in third overall for the bronze medal spot at 1536. And he's got one more year, folks. He might be one to call out for a potential state champion next year. Silas Wilson of Central Montcalm comes in 1636 for the junior. David Castrojohn and Owego, 1639 for 52nd. Cooper Tiffany right behind of Lakeview at 1640 for the sophomore. Kyler Fertig of the Hornets, 1655 there for 76th. Connor Schmidt of Clare, 1659 there for 93rd. Paul Saladin of Reed City, 96 at 1702. Caden Hensel there of Lake City, the Trojans, 1708 out of the Highland Conference. Johnny Costin of Central Montcalm, the freshman, in at 1712. Connor Hensel there of Lake City at 1714. One spot right behind him, Abraham Kianis of Reed City. The freshman comes in at 115. Jacob Simon of Chip Hills, 1725. Sutton Kloss of Clare at 1739. As well as Evan Ralston there at 1739. One spot behind him is Christian Villa Bilton of Clare. Tanner Dozier at 175 for Reed City. Clayton Peacock of Clare at 189. Aaron Allen at 201. Caden Gaskill of Clare, 206. One spot behind from Pine River, Ethan Baker. Brady Dozier at 219. Nico Ketchum, as well as his teammate William Warner at 224 and 230. 231 for Liam Van Scoy from the Coyotes, and Peyton Marks and Tyne Evans of the Hornets, 253 and 255. Those are individual scores there from the Division III men's side. Now let's flip over to the women's. How about the effort of the Hornets? Central Montcalm finishing as the third overall team in the field. Congratulations to the Hornets on a podium finish, outlasting St. Francis by 2 points for that third overall spot as a team. Congratulations to them. As well as Clare, 14th. McBain finishing in 15th. Some of the notables there coming out of the team scoring category. We'll also get you to the individuals here as we'll check off all of the local teams to highlight for you. A lot of local teams here in this field with just individual performers. Might not necessarily been a lot of the team scoring, but still really impressive to see all these individuals being able to compete. As one that formerly did that myself, it's great to get those local kids some highlights as well, even though their team might not have made it. It's still worth it at the end of the day to give them those individual highlights. So we'll roll through those results now. Kyle Hoffman is your individual Division III Women's 5,000 champion at 1731. The senior comes out on top. Congratulations to her. Lila Volkers in the third spot of Kent City at 1755. Ashley Chapanis of Central Montcalm at 1805. Cameron Soliday 10th, as well as Kaylin Torrey 16th. Elena Max of Kent City. Grace Costin 21st. Max finishing in 18th. That is Lord Castrojohn at 29. And Dory Simon one spot out of All-State for Chip Hills there at 1920. So those are your All-State performers, as well as there's a whole more list here that I'll get through here really quickly. Megan Gottschall of Lake City at 45. Ellison Foster, 52 of Newaygo. Sophia Buzzielli of Clare at 53rd. Isabel Eppert, 57th of Farwell. 69 for Pine River. That's Madison Wanstead. Quinn Hatfield at 71 for Chip Hills. Evelyn Alley of Pine River at 73rd. Andrea Ralston, 84 of Montcalm. Chelsea Eisinger of McBain at 86. Faith Hetzel of Lake City at 94. Leah Lice of Clare at 113. Her teammate Elizabeth Leffner there at 119. Braylon Bunting 130th there for of Central Montcalm. Madeline Rymank of McBain 148. Lauren Lice of Clare at 150. Caden Hinton one spot behind for McBain at 151. Olivia Fosberg of Clare at 159. Her teammates Emma Stotzel and Ava Robinson at 166 and 177 respectively. Shauna McLean of McBain, followed by Genesis Wilson of McBain, and Madeline Fansett of McBain at 185, 191, and 197. And Central Montcalm, Ruth Jordan 206 and Logan Tristad of 228. Those are overall finishes, and that wraps up our conclusion here of the cross country early morning sessions. We'll get to the later ones on next week's episode, so be sure to subscribe. That's going to do it for me, Brandon Wirth, signing off here on the West Michigan Sports Show. We'll see you later, everybody.